Basketball fans, we are back at it. This is the Hangout, Canada's home for talking all things hoops, and we have a show jam-packed with awesome stuff for you, but even better than the stuff we got to talk about are the people we have to talk about it with. So let me introduce you to an all-star cast. First off, the Hangout's biggest free agent acquisition this offseason. You know him from TSN's one-on-one radio with Will Strickland, my new producer, best friend, all that good stuff, of course. You know Dwayne Watson, or Sweets as we call him. On the other end of the couch is my brother from another mother, the man that runs King Nation Basketball, the founder of the Hoop Factory, two-time Nike Battlegrounds champion, former captain of Canada's senior men's basketball team, played in March Madness, St. Bonaventure men's, you know Vidal Messiah, and the biggest guest that I think we've ever had, Hall of Famer, rocking the jewelry, ladies and gentlemen. We have Lenny Wilkens on the couch. Lenny, thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. So I guess this is the place where we talk about the game we love so much. Big game hunting is what we really like to do. So let's just get right into it. Big game hunting last night, the biggest game for me personally. The Brooklyn Nets, a team that our beloved Toronto Raptors are currently battling with, edging each other out for playoff positioning, playing the top dog. Well, not quite the top dog. In image, they're the top dog because they're the world champions, but Indiana holds the top spot. But the Miami Heat played the Brooklyn Nets. So let's get into the tape, of course. Everybody expecting the Miami Heat to get back on that positive roll. People expecting the Brooklyn Nets to fall off a bit because they've been playing well. Darren Williams gets things started. We're in the fourth quarter, just 30 seconds remaining in the game. Big shot. Oh, by the way, it's a nickname game if you're wondering what those names are on the back of the jerseys. But I'll start with Lenny first off. What did you expect to see coming out of this matchup as you see the final plays down the stretch?
Well, first of all, Brooklyn has to make their presence felt. I felt that they have to step up. And certainly Jason Kidd as the coach, he knows it. You know, he knows what they need to do right now because everybody's been talking about the fact that Brooklyn should have stepped up to early along with the New York Knicks. The Knicks can't do it,
no.
So Brooklyn has got to be the team.
All right, now it's weird when you look at this Brooklyn group and you see how the way the game played out. Of course, Chris Bosh with the opportunity to make the entry pass to LeBron. Bosh, not the best passer, knocked away. Nets win. Nets playing without, of course, their center and Brook Lopez. Kevin Garnett out. So Teletovic and Paul Pierce splitting time at the power forward. Jason Kidd's kind of, I think his job's harder now without those pieces, but he's doing a better job. So, Vi, I'll start with you. How impressive is it that when he had his full team, he wasn't doing a good job, but now that he's had to improvise, play small ball, we're kind of seeing a better Jason Kidd.
I think Brooklyn's had a tough time, obviously, finding themselves throughout the season. But basketball, I'm sure Coach would tell you, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I think they're finding themselves at the right time. It's giving opportunity for guys to step up while other guys are out. And it's a very long season. You're getting into March and April, and I think you're seeing guys, step up into the roles. And I'm not surprised. I think Brooklyn is a team that teams don't want to face.
I'm a little surprised. I mean, because you got guys like Teletovic and Sean Livingston and Allen Anderson, a lot of role players stepping up, giving them good minutes, and it's actually forced Kidd to actually coach more than relying on the talents of those guys. So I mean, they're a good team coming in, but I didn't think the role players would step up. And like Livingston was doing better than Darren Williams at one point. So. It's all roses.
I think these guys are NBA players. They're paid to play basketball. I mean, they're on a certain level. Guys in the NBA can all play basketball.
Right.
Given the opportunity in minutes, you find yourself, you find your rhythm, and I'm thinking that's what you're seeing. You're seeing guys, and sometimes when stars are out and you have the opportunity, you actually play harder. You seize that opportunity, right?
That's an example. So something else I want to get at is the Nets are now 3-0. Against the Miami Heat. Now, looking back at history, I mean, when this Heat team won a championship, they had lost regular season games. They had lost the regular season series to Boston and to Brooklyn, teams that they eventually beat in the playoffs. So, Lenny, do you give any credence or any extra weight to Brooklyn being able to knock the Heat off 3 times regular season-wise?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, Brooklyn was going through a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
Okay? And now they're starting to find themselves. Jason is more comfortable in what he's doing. And I'm partial to point guards anyway, because I think that they know how to run the show better than anybody. However, the Heat has to be concerned because now Brooklyn's starting to come together, and they beat you 3 times when they were sort of going, through some changes. You've got to be concerned about that. So I don't think that they're going to take Brooklyn for granted.
Okay. Now, when talking big game hunting, there were 3 big games. The Clippers game, not so much made the list for us. But what we do want to talk about, the San Antonio Spurs and the Portland Trailblazers. The Spurs, of course, everyone forgets about them. No matter how well the Spurs play, we pay them no mind. They get on that rodeo trip. They string together a winning streak. And then all of a sudden, with 15 games left in the season, everyone's like, hold the phone. San Antonio is still here. The young team that we all wanted to get excited for, Portland. 4 straight losses. They're starting to see a little bit of trouble in what they look forward to, especially now with LaMarcus Aldridge with that back injury. For you, Lenny Wilkens, there was a players-only meeting after the loss for the Portland Trailblazers. As a coach, when your team goes through a little bit of a losing streak, what's your perspective on players-only meetings, like sitting back and not having a chance to have influence on it?
Well, I become very concerned about that because when players start having meetings, I mean, it shows that there's some unrest somewhere in the locker room. And I worry about that as a coach, and they should be concerned because San Antonio, like you said, people forget about them, but they're a well-coached team. They got veteran players. They've been there. They know what it takes, to win, and they're willing to make sacrifices. And they've added to that team. So they're playing well. If I'm Portland, I'm concerned. Again, as I said, I don't like players-only meetings. It's we had very few of them when I was a player, but it tells me that something's not right in the locker room. And if I'm a coach, I want to know about it.
All right, let's check out the highlights now so you guys can see exactly how the game finally played out, and we can give you some insight, of course. Our man, LA, LaMarcus Aldridge, did go down. As you see right there, very painful. News coming back today, x-rays are negative, but for this Portland team that's trying to get back into the win of things, it's going to be hard to play without a guy playing MVP-like ball. And then you put so much more pressure on this young man here as he splits the defense. Damian Lillard, a lot more pressure on him as we see this game play out. Kawhi Leonard with the layup. Do you think they can get back on track right now, Vi, without LaMarcus Aldridge in the lineup?
Not to make a run in the West, and not to take anything away from them. I think, to really jump back on the Spurs, you have a team and you have a culture that, no matter who they put on the floor to play, when they show up at your arena, then you're worried about playing the Spurs. They have that presence, they have that edge to them. I don't think Portland has that. I think.
Okay, let me jump in here because I think something about the presence, something about the edge is my key question for you, Lenny. Is Gregg Popovich the greatest coach of this era currently?
I think he's one of the best. Certainly he knows his personnel. They know him. And he knows when to push a button, when to back off, okay? I don't know that the Portland coach is there yet. He's a good coach. He's done a good job, okay? Yeah, he's done a nice job. And I think that he's gotten great play from Lillard this year. I mean, that young man has come in and played well.
Can I say I called it? Just so everyone I called it. Thank you.
That's good. But you need Aldridge. You can't go against the Spurs because he does so many things well. He can pull guys away from the basket. He can rebound. He can pass the ball probably better than most people realize. And so that team needs him, especially if they're going to face San Antonio Spurs.
The biggest difference between both those teams is experience. Like the Spurs have experience, they know. Portland's having a great run right now, they're playing great basketball, but if they got into the playoffs, they don't have that experience, the veteran players to really carry them through, and the Spurs got it.
Yeah, I do. I agree. It's time to start talking about the Spurs right now. Okay?
It really is.
Moving forward, basketball fans, don't forget to mention the Spurs as we do this thing. We got more Hangout coming up. And when you know I'm on TV talking basketball, we got to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, the Mamba, Kobe Bean Bryant, when we return on The Hangout.